If you've ever stared at the ceiling at 3 a.m., counting the cracks like a desperate prayer, you're not alone. You know that particular hum of the night, the house settling, the phone lighting up one more time, the quiet that isn't really quiet at all. Your mind races. Your heart insists on tap dance. Your body is tired but refuses to surrender. Maybe you've tried warm milk, or the perfect pillow, or that app that promises to gently drown your thoughts in ocean waves. And still, the eyes stay open, the hours stretch. Your life feels far away. Why is the night so loud? Here's a different possibility, one you may not have heard. What if your insomnia isn't a malfunction, but a message? A signal from the deeper mind, a voice knocking from the basement of the psyche. According to the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung, the parts of us we ignore by day, our worries, our longing, our unlived life, become restless at night. The conscious mind, your daytime manager, finally loosens its grip, and the rest of you steps forward. Not to punish you, to speak. Think about your day. You carry a face the world recognizes, the capable person, the funny one, the good friend, the reliable helper. Jung called that face the persona, the mask tailored to your roles. It helps you function. But it's not the whole story. Behind it, in the dimmer rooms, waits the shadow, the pieces of you that don't make it onto your calendar. The fears you edit out of conversations, the anger you call irritation, the ambition you call unrealistic, the tenderness you pretend doesn't need to be fed. When darkness settles, the shadow rustles. It asks for attention, and if we won't listen gently, it speaks loudly. Sleeplessness can be that voice, clearing its throat at the worst possible hour. Have you noticed how your thoughts at night don't march? They spiral. It's as if one worry opens a trapdoor and you tumble into the next. Money becomes work. Work becomes purpose. Purpose becomes the question you don't want to ask. What am I doing, really? Jung would say a complex has been activated, a knot of memory and feeling that behaves like a small personality in the psyche. When a complex catches you, it strings you along with images, what-ifs, and scenes that never end. That's why simply telling yourself to stop thinking works about as well as telling the ocean to hold still. So what do you do at 2 or 3 in the morning when the mind insists on running laps? First, you invite the spirals to ground themselves. Keep a pen on your nightstand, a humble bridge from the inside world to the outer one. If you wake with a racing mind, turn to a fresh page and ask 3 questions, slowly, like you're coaxing a shy animal closer. What are you afraid will happen? What do you actually need right now? What is the image that keeps returning? Don't fix, don't argue, just write. The complex wants to be witnessed. Seen clearly, it often softens. Sometimes the problem isn't the quantity of thoughts, it's the quality. The night amplifies tiny concerns into thunder. You remember the weird comment your coworker made, and suddenly you're building entire legal cases in your head. Or you replay the next day's tasks like they're a gauntlet you have to survive. Beneath that hum, there is often a simpler truth. The shadow is guarding an unlived feeling. Maybe it's grief you never gave a real chair at the table. Maybe it's the anger you disguise as sarcasm. Maybe it's the ache to change something big, career, relationship, city, but you've been strategically not thinking about that. By day, you stay busy. At night, busyness retires. The unlived feeling asks to be felt. Try this quiet practice sometime before bed when the day still has a little light in it. Write a letter to the part of you that doesn't sleep. Begin, "Dear Night Self," and let it speak back. If it's petty, let it be petty. If it's dramatic, let it be dramatic. If it's exhausted, let it collapse on the page. You are building a small ritual of welcome. Jung didn't want us to conquer the shadow. He wanted us to relate to it, to enter a dialogue that makes wholeness possible. Often, when the night self trusts that it will be heard tomorrow, it stops insisting on being heard at 2 a.m. But what about fear? especially that quiet fear of the future that seems to hover just above your pillow. You lie there reviewing every branch of every path. If I choose this, I might lose that. If I don't answer that email, the world may end. The mind tries to pre-solve every potential disappointment. Under that frenzy is often a simple terror, losing control. Jung understood that our psyche doesn't simply want certainty, it wants meaning. When your life feels aligned with meaning, uncertainty becomes a river you can float. When meaning dries up, uncertainty becomes a corridor of locked doors. So the nightly fear may not be demanding a perfect plan. It may be begging for a sense of direction that feels alive. A small practice can help. Set a worry appointment for earlier in the evening. Choose a 10 to 15-minute window where you worry on purpose. Bring the pen. Make a list of everything your mind wants to obsess over later. Then for each item, add one next honest step you're willing to take tomorrow, even if it's tiny. When you climb into bed, tell your mind, we already did that. We'll return to it at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Not a lie, a promise. The psyche respects real boundaries more than vague reassurance. And that respect calms the system. Pause with me here. Feel your body. Where do you hold your nights? The jaw that grips, the belly that knots, the chest that forgets how to open. There's a reason most rituals for sleep involve the body, breath, temperature, light. This isn't separate from Jung's vision of the psyche. The unconscious speaks in images, yes, and also in sensation. A clenched stomach might be the image. The story it carries might be, I'm not safe unless I stay alert. The practical kindness is to offer your body a new story it can trust. 2 small gestures. Place one hand on your chest, one on your abdomen, and breathe in a 4 to 6 rhythm. Inhale for 4 counts. Exhale for 6. Then whisper, I am allowed to rest. Not because everything is solved. Because the self that solves is not the only self you are. And there's the light. We stare into little suns all day. Screens, signs, the glow of tasks that never finish. Our circadian rhythms are ancient and faithful, but they're also trainable. Lower the lights an hour before bed. Let darkness be darkness again. If you can, step outside for a moment and let your eyes meet the actual night sky, even if it's just a slice between buildings. The psyche loves the star field because it recognizes itself there. Mystery, depth, order, inside chaos. A body that knows it is entering night stops performing day. Now about dreams, the secret letters your deeper mind writes when your guard is down. If insomnia is a messenger, dreams are the message itself. The tragedy of modern life is that we often miss them or scroll them away the moment we wake. Jung believed dreams are acts of self-regulation, the psyche offering images that balance, correct, or complete the one-sidedness of our waking life. Can you recall the fragments that come when you're just drifting off, the hallway that becomes a forest, the phone that turns into a bird? Those are emissaries. If you catch even one, you're already collaborating with your night. Before bed, create a small altar to attention. Nothing grand. A candle you won't light when tired. A smooth stone. A bowl of water. Sit for 2 minutes and tell yourself, out loud if you like, I will remember what needs to be remembered. If a dream comes and you wake at 4 a.m., don't reach for your phone. Reach for the pen. Write down whatever fragment is left, even if it's just blue coat, wet stairs. You'll be amazed how much more arrives with that small act of welcome. In the morning, look at those images and ask, if this dream were a person, what would it want from me today? Not forever. Today. Then do something, however small, in that direction. You give the dream reality. The psyche thanks you by softening the need to shout. There's a doorway Jung loved to point toward, active imagination. It's a way of conversing with your inner figures while awake, rather than waiting for them to hijack the night. When insomnia strikes, Instead of wrestling with the thought storm, you can choose to meet its central image as a character. Close your eyes. Ask, who is awake in me right now? Maybe a worrier appears, eyes wide, clutching to-do lists. Maybe an angry teenager. Maybe a quiet elder who won't speak until you stop rushing. Let one step forward. Ask it 3 things. What are you protecting? What do you need? How can I help you rest? Then listen. Don't force an answer. You're learning the language beneath words. Here's a gentler picture of wholeness. By day, you wear your chosen face, you move your tasks forward. By night, you take the face off and bow to the temple of what is hidden. That bow doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. And every time you soften toward the part of you that won't sleep, you teach your system that you can carry the full truth of your life without cracking. There's also this. Sometimes we can't sleep because the day we're living doesn't fit. Not in a dramatic way, more in a paper-cut way. 1,000 tiny misalignments. The work that's competent but dead. The relationships that are polite but quiet. The routines that keep you afloat but never let you swim. Insomnia becomes the soul's protest, not an enemy, an alarm. When this is true, sleep hygiene helps, but only to a point. The deeper help is realignment. One honest conversation. 1 hour a week devoted to what makes you deeply awake. One boundary that lets the light back in. You may wonder, how do I tell the difference between ordinary stress and a genuine night message? Start by noticing the pattern. If sleeplessness spikes around certain themes, money, love, purpose, that's a clue. If it intensifies after you silence a feeling during the day, that's another. And if it eases when you witness the feeling, even a little, you have found the thread. Follow it. A brief word for those nights that won't relent. If your lack of sleep is chronic, if it touches your safety while driving, if your mood collapses or your body shows distress, respect the body's limits. Speak to a clinician. Rule out medical causes. None of this is a failure of soul work. Jung would not ask you to spiritualize a nervous system in need of medical care. We are whole beings. Mind, body, symbol, breath. Help in one area supports the others. There is a small ritual I love at day's end, a ritual that says to your psyche, we are changing rooms now. Write the day on a single index card. 3 sentences. What happened, what you felt, what you learned. Then place the card in a box or a drawer and whisper, that was day. This is night. The gesture is simple, almost childlike, but the child in you knows how to transition. It's the adults who forget. Now let's come back to the most familiar 3 a.m. visitor. The fear you can't quite name. When it arrives, we tend to either fight it or obey it. There is a third way. Host it. Turn the pillow into a small guest room. Say, you may sit with me, but you cannot drive. Put one hand over your heart and greet it like an anxious friend. Name it without adjectives. Fear, fear, fear. You are not the enemy. You are the messenger. Ask it, what do you carry? Often you'll receive not a sentence but an image, a dark hallway, a blank calendar, an empty chair. That is the conversation's beginning. You might also feel a strange compulsion to isolate, to cancel plans, to stay home, to hide under the blanket of your own thoughts. Sometimes that's depression. Sometimes it's protection. The psyche pulling you away from noise so you can hear the whisper you keep missing. If the urge to withdraw is strong, make a deal with yourself. Don't disappear entirely, but give yourself 1 hour of intentional solitude, no screens, just a journal, maybe a walk, maybe a playlist that understands you. Tell your people you're not vanishing, you're listening. Done on purpose, isolation becomes sanctuary instead of trap. At the edge of sleep, there's a threshold, the hypnagogic state, where thoughts melt into images and images melt into sleep. Many insomniacs hover there. Hovering hurts, like standing in a doorway you're not allowed to step through. If this is you, invite a simple symbol to escort you across. A candle flame in your mind's eye, shrinking gently into a tiny star. A small boat sliding from the dock. A warm animal curling at your feet. Symbols are vehicles that carry you from one state to another. Pick one and return to it every night, lovingly, until your body recognizes it as a signal. Ah, we're crossing. Midnight can be honest the way noon rarely is. Without the day's noise, you can hear your true answers, even when they arrive like riddles. What do I want? What do I grieve? What am I pretending not to know? Jung believed the self, the organizing center deeper than the ego, has an instinct for wholeness that never stops guiding us. It guides through symptom and dream, through accident and yearning, through the slow rearrangement of what we call a life. Insomnia, troublesome as it is, can be one of those guides. A blunt instrument sometimes, yes, but a guide nonetheless. Quick pause. Which part of your night feels most familiar? The racing thoughts, the fear of the future, or the shadow asking to be heard? Tell me in the comments so we can learn from each other. And if you want more Jungian tools you can actually use, tap subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive. There's another character in the night we don't name often, the Trickster. It wears the face of distraction, offering 100 tiny detours. Check one more thing. Scroll one more time. Reorganize the bookshelf at 1 a.m. Anything to avoid the central feeling. The Trickster isn't evil, it's a survival artist. But if you let it run the night, it will steal your rest. When you notice it, smile. Name it. Ah, Trickster, I see you. Then return to the thing that matters, even if that thing is simply breathing and letting your weight drop into the mattress. Resistance feeds the Trickster. Attention disarms it. Sometimes insomnia is tethered to the past. The room is dark, but your body remembers a time when dark meant danger, or silence meant the sharp edge of a voice about to erupt. If this resonates, your night asks for extra gentleness. Heavier blankets can help, the weight telling your nervous system that it is held. Soft sound, a fan, a slow track, can create a bridge between silence and safety. Most importantly, give yourself permission to sleep with a light on if you need it. Maturity isn't sleeping in total darkness. It's creating conditions for the child in you to feel safe enough to let go. Then, there is the future we imagine at night, which is almost always a catastrophe. If the mind insists on storytelling, offer it a different genre. Instead of disaster, try ritual. Picture tomorrow as a small ceremony. You wake, you water the plant, you brew the tea. You sit for 5 minutes and write down the one thing you refuse to abandon today, the one thing that makes the day worth walking into. That is your vow. The mind respects vows. They give the night something noble to hand to the morning. What about the partner who sleeps easily beside you while you wage a private battle with your own head? Resentment can rise here. Don't make sleep a measure of virtue. Don't make your wakefulness a moral failure. If you can, speak with the person you love during the day. Ask for a shared ritual. 30 minutes of contouring the house toward quiet. A lamp instead of overhead lights. Devices out of the bedroom. A brief check-in where you name the one worry, the one gratitude. Then bless each other's sleep, in whatever language feels true. You will both be different in the morning. One more practice, small, strange, and beautiful. Give your fear a shape and a home outside your body. Take a jar or a box. Each night, write the most persistent worry on a slip of paper and place it inside. Close the lid with a deliberate hand. Then say, "You do not vanish, but you don't have to live in my chest tonight." Real containers calm imaginary storms. Over time, you'll open that box and notice many fears never asked for action. They only asked for acknowledgement. Those that do require action will be clear in daylight. Remember, the point isn't to conquer the night, it's to become its student. Insomnia is a difficult teacher, but its lessons can be elegant. It reminds us that half of life is not under the sun. Half of life lives in the moonlit rooms, where symbols breathe, where the shadow keeps the keys you dropped during the day, where the self rearranges furniture you didn't know was in your house. If you come to this classroom with humility and a little ritual, the lessons soften. The body remembers how to release, and even when your eyes remain open longer than you'd like, you feel less alone inside them. So tonight, when the lights are low and the hum begins, try this. Make a small promise to your night self. I will meet you before bed with a pen. I will listen for the image. I will choose one symbol to carry me across the threshold. I will treat my fear as a guest with a message. I will let the trickster smile. And I will return to my breath. I will give my body a story it can believe. We are allowed to rest. Not because everything is fixed, because we are worthy of rest while we are still becoming. And in the morning, if sleep has visited you, thank it. If it has not, thank your patience. Either way, the conversation continues. Jung's gift is this reminder. Your psyche is not your enemy. It is a living city with many districts, each with a voice and a purpose. Insomnia is a siren in that city. Follow it, not to wreck upon the rocks, but to find the lighthouse that was always there, sweeping its patient beam across your dark, saying, "Come home." There is space here for all of you. The night is not against you. The night, in its strange and stubborn way, is on your side.